These are the first 4 chord shapes I think every beginner guitarist should learn. The great thing about these chord shapes is that it's somewhat easy to move between them, and I think that's kind of by design. Chances are if you've looked up how to play any type of country song, you've run into these chords before, and honestly you can play a majority of the songs that you probably know and love by utilizing these chords and a capo. With that, let's get into it. In this video, we're mostly going to focus on the shapes. We're not going to focus on the strumming pattern as much. But if you're interested in trying to pick up some strumming patterns, be sure to watch the video over there. So the chord progression is going to be G, D, E minor, and C. So really we're playing a G, D sus4 over F sharp, an E minor 7, and a C, you could call it a C sus2 or like a C add 9. But functionally, G, D, E minor, C, and chances are if you're playing in the key of G or you're playing in the key of E minor, these chords are, if you look at, if something says play a G, boom, play a D, you know, technically, like I said, that's like a D sus4 over F sharp, but that's a whole bunch of theory jargon that isn't really important in the beginning phases of playing guitar. So first, let's talk about the left hand. So my ring finger is going to hop onto the 3rd fret of the B string, and my pinky is going to hop onto the 3rd fret of the E string. Those fingers are going to stay there through all 4 chords. So really the only fingers that we're going to be moving are our index finger and our middle finger. So let's take a look at G. My middle finger is going to hop onto the 3rd fret of the low E string, and my index finger is going to hop onto the 2nd fret of the A string. And we're strumming all the strings. So rather than going in the order of the progression, we're going to look at the closest shape to this, and that's going to be C. So all you're going to do is take these 2 fingers. Remember I said ring finger and pinky are going to stay where they're at. You're going to take these 2 fingers and you're going to move them both down a string. So now my middle finger is on the 3rd fret of the A string, my index finger is on the 2nd fret of the D string. Now we're not going to pick the low E string. We're just going to pick the A to the high E. So you can practice going between those 2. All right, let's take a look at D. So I'm going to place my index finger on the 2nd fret of the low E string and my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. And I'm going to strum all of the strings. And then E minor, we're just going to take those 2 fingers, so the 2 fingers that are moving, remember, ring finger and pinky are staying where they're at. We're going to take those 2 fingers and we're going to move them closer together. So the index finger is now going to be on the 2nd fret of the A string. The middle finger is going to be on the 2nd fret of the D string. So if we want to switch between those 2, and on that E minor, I'm strumming all the strings. So the only chord shape that I'm not strumming all the strings is the C. And remember, we're just starting on A. So if I want to go back and forth between D and E minor, so a really common chord progression is going to be G, D, E minor, C. So just a quick tip on the C, you can strum the E string as long as you find a way to mute it with some, some accessible piece of flesh. So you could put your thumb up here, mute it there. You could kind of lay your middle finger down, mute it with that. Right, so I'm not letting it open, I'm just still hitting it, but I'm muting it. Or if you want to be a little more precise with your pick, you can just miss the E string. So I'd recommend just going through all 4 chords and really focusing on the left hand and practice getting between all of those shapes. And you can really take those 4 chords and put them in any order you want. If you found this video to be helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for sticking around.